So when I first got in, they were like, hey, do you want to do overtime? I'm like, sure. What's that look like? And like, oh, 7 days a week, 10 hours a day. And I was like, yeah. So I just pumped it. I did that for about 2 months and until I couldn't hack it anymore. Yeah, but it was like 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. So like, full makes you depressed, but the money was good.
Being a PT is kind of like starting your own business, hey? Or it is starting your own business.
Yeah.
And how the fuck are you going to get a typically 18-year-old or 19-year-old kid who just did 3 months at a like fitness institute? How do they start selling? How do they start marketing? How to manage finances and all that shit? Like, how do you expect them to do that?
In the past, and I started becoming very cynical, to be honest, and I just started telling people who would come to me, ask me to mentor them or looking for a job that, hey, look, are you willing to do X, Y, Z? And as soon as I hear any ums, ahs, or buts, I'm like, you're not right for the job.
Wow,
yeah,
bro.
straight away, like straight, because I'm just not gonna waste their time, right? Like, yeah, this is why like 90% fail. We live in such a progressive society where progression is like number one thing, and also competition and comparison is such a big thing that I am trying to actively disengage from that. I'm trying to actively slow down.
Okay.
I'm trying to actively run my own race.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Backdoor Banter, your journey to self-improvement from a few guys still figuring it out. And we've got another special guest here with us today, handsome, long-term friend of mine, Leng Jay, another Cantonese brother as well.
Hello,
just like
hello.
us, right? Gary, why don't you just introduce yourself actually?
What's up, everyone? My name's Gary. I have been a long-time friend of Lawrence's. And yeah.
Yeah, well, I think I'll keep doing the intro then. You know, Gary, he's been a long-time friend of mine, so I've seen his trajectory from when we first finished high school, even during high school, from him becoming a struggling PT, struggling to make ends meet, and deciding on whether he should get a haircut this month or not, and cutting his own hair.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and
Yep.
to becoming a very successful, thriving PT who's actually infamous in the area, especially from a few close friends of mine.
Try my best.
You know, having too many clients to actually care about you anymore. So yeah. So he's gonna run us through some of that and a few learnings and growth phases in his life that he's recently come across, and I think there's a lot to learn from this guy. Like we both were when we first started getting close, we were both really young, didn't really know what we wanted to do, just fucking around partying. But now I can see him growing into a very wise old soul. So he has a lot of knowledge to drop.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, how was the intro?
Yeah, so Edmund and I don't really we don't know you from how Lawrence knows you. So how did you guys meet initially?
I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember. It was definitely in high school because we went to the same high school. Yeah, same high school friends, but I don't even remember our first interaction. Do you?
Yeah, I probably do. You know what? It actually goes before high school. Now I know that you don't remember this, but do you remember actually going to a tutoring center that was in the middle of John Street in that alleyway? So where the brother's crib is, shout out Zoms and the brother's crib, but where the alleyway of where the brother's crib is, there used to be a tutoring center.
Oh, you know what? Now that you say that, very vague. What, Stephen Liu was there too, right?
Stephen Liu, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Most of your primary school buddies were there. I was probably the only one from my school that went there.
Right. I very, very vaguely. How old were we then?
We would have been year 2, maybe, or year 1.
Wow, that was a long time ago.
That
was a very long time ago.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
I don't remember it that vividly, but now that you brought, to be honest, I don't even remember that I went to that tutor until you just mentioned it. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we met then?
We met then because I remember I would speak to Stephen Mao a lot, and also Stephen Liu a little bit, and I remember Jason as well, Jason La.
Oh, I think I remember that too.
So obviously we all hung out together, played handball in that alleyway as well.
Wow.
And the ball would roll over, roll down to John Street, and then someone would have to quickly run and get it. So that's my first memory of meeting you.
Wow.
And I left that tutoring center to go to another one where it closed down. Don't know what happened, but then I saw you again in high school, and I remembered your face. Actually, I remembered your name as well. I remembered like you as a person, but I don't think you remembered me. I know it's like Stephen Liu might have, and Stephen Mao did, but yeah, you didn't specifically. But yeah, and then maybe we had a class together. I'm not sure, and that's how we sort of knew each other. But we didn't actually start getting close until after high school.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say senior years.
Yeah, like we'll talk a bit more, but it would just be like, hey, how you going? You know?
Yeah. Fair. Weren't we in math class together?
We were, yes.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, cool. I remember something.
Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah.
And then,
We were in
I
math
guess
class.
we did grow closer after high school, and yeah, being fresh out of high school, 18, we partied a lot. Went to clubs together, went to bars together, and I think that probably strengthened our, I guess, friendship. And then we would hang out one-on-one as well.
Yeah.
Grab lunch here and there. But yeah, I guess our friendship did grow further after high school.
Yeah. And do you remember like going to basically like going to the bar or the pub every weekend, getting up to no good?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we look back at it and laugh like now as well. It's like pretty funny, but we were just a bunch of degenerates back then, getting up to no good. But that's how we got close, right? And now like I can see that you're not going to Bar 53 in Sanctuary Hotel every weekend. So
Thank the Lord, mate.
All worked out at the end.
Yeah. Honestly, because that was honestly no good. Because there was a time, I kid you not, where we were out, I think on like a weeknight, and we were at Bar 53, and I think some DJ was playing in the city or something, and Lawrence pulls out a Tarago and he takes us and the boys to the city from Bar 53 or something like that.
That's Tarago.
I remember like there was this one time, Lawrence took us like, I don't know, 6 boys or something, all to the club, or to the city to go to the club. And then, that was pretty funny. But yeah, we were a bunch of degenerates back then.
Yeah,
honestly.
we were. I think not even the Tarago as well. Like at one point, I think my dad didn't have the Tarago anymore. It was unavailable. So like, I think I might have driven, but I think it happened on more than one occasion where someone hopped in the boot because they were like that desperate to get to the city, but we didn't want to take the train.
Yeah. I think so. I think so.
It's so funny.
That was wild.
Yeah. So like, I guess like that's how we knew each other. And Justin also loves a good visit and good trip to Sanctuary, don't you?
Yeah. Oh, what a classic. So many good memories made at that place.
Yeah.
I never understood the hype, to be honest. Like
it was cheap. It was
the
cheap.
$10 Long Island.
There's like a lot of space. Like you kind of just run into like people randomly.
Yeah,
Like,
I full hate that now, eh? Like, I don't like running into people now. Like, I think it's just rather, I don't know, a bit more
focused on your own life kind of thing.
Yeah. I think it's just getting to that age maybe. But the degeneracy was too much, I guess. Yeah, but you're right. Like back then we would go Sanctuary or Bar 53 or even VIP. It was like every weekend,
karaoke.
same people.
Karaoke,
Same people every week that you would go and see. Like, oh, hey, I saw you here last week. Oh, hey, saw you here the week before. Oh, hey, see you here tonight. Like, and it just becomes a bit of a pattern, I guess.
It was kind of like not autopilot, but like I was looking forward to it. Like I had good fun, but it got to a point where it was quite monotonous, and we just like going out to go out, Yeah. So besides all that, like what were you doing at that time? Like it was fresh out of high school. Like, can you tell us a bit about like, well, I guess like were you like, did you do good in high school? Did you get a good ATAR? Did you go to uni? Like what did you do? What did you do straight after high school?
Okay, so starting off with my ATAR and did I do good? I like to think that I was quite studious and I could have been an academic, I wouldn't say scholar, but I guess I could have done better than I did. Mm-hmm. So my ATAR was like 50 or something. Mind you, I went to tutor all throughout high school as well for math and English. But yeah, I think after year 10, I just didn't care anymore. Like, I think I did my best in year 10 and then it kind of just dropped off from there. And I think it was partly like burnout, but also it's like, when whether it's your parents or your partner or anyone forcing you to do something all the time, and you do it and you do it and you do it, and then you just get sick of it and you don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I felt about high school.
Oh.
Yeah, like past the year 10 mark, I was just over it. And then by the time it was HSC, right? I'm not even joking. I would pull all-nighters to play League of Legends. Like, I'm not pulling all-nighters to study. I'm pulling all-nighters to play League of Legends. I remember I'd be up till like 6 a.m., like sunrise, and I'd still be playing games. And my mum would get up and she'd be like, have you slept yet? I'm like, no. And then like 5 minutes later, she comes in with a cup of coffee. And I'm like, all right then, like, let's go. I'm like, yeah, but no, I didn't mind school. I think it was okay, but yeah, I think it got a bit boring after year 10. I just kind of gave up. So yeah, my ATAR was 50, and then what did I do after high school? I just worked a bunch of random jobs, to be honest. I think because of the way I was brought up, I was very much the type of person who had to always do something, right? I don't know if you guys are the same or not.
I think so.
Yeah, like
I wouldn't mind playing League of Legends.
yeah, like I have moments now. I believe in like seasons where I have times where I grind and times where I chill. But before I got to this stage, it was always just do, grind. Like I felt like I always had to do something. And if I wasn't doing something, I'd feel guilty. I'd feel I'd feel like I didn't earn this time off that I currently have. So but then that was also like this toxic mentality, right? Where I need to find a new job, or like I need to do this while I work, or I need to have this much money by this time, like, you know, that kind of thing. And then it just became this repetitive toxic mindset of chasing the next thing, chasing progression. But to circle back to your question, I worked a few random jobs. My very first job was actually when I was 18. So the legal age to work in Sydney, Australia, I believe is 14, 9 months.
Yes.
Yes. When I was so excited to get to that age because I really wanted to work and really wanted to make my own money, because growing up, I always had an allowance, or got given an allowance from my mum. And I have a single mum, so who didn't work, by the way. So she's like on Seno, and you know, you feel bad. Like you're just like, well, this isn't right. Like I have a pair of hands, I have a pair of legs, I have an able body, I should go work. So 14, 9 months, literally on the dot, I'm like, cool, I'm going to go look for a job. Ask my mom, she's like, no, focus on your studies, focus on this. I'm paying too much for your tutor, And, you know, in Asian culture, you just respect hierarchy, you respect your elders. So you kind of just take it as is. So I didn't work. And I didn't get a chance to work until I became an adult. And that was after high school. And my first job was actually at a bowling alley in Orange Grove. Yeah. So I was there for like three weeks before I quit. Reason being, they only gave me one shift a week, bro. That shift was 3 hours.
So you got 3 shifts. You got 3 shifts in. Wow.
3 shifts in 3 weeks, and they were 3 hours each. And when I noticed like this wasn't getting any better, I'm like, okay, well, forget it then. And then I quit, looked for another job, and my next job, I was working at a factory. I worked at a factory. Oh, wait, no, sorry. Let me circle back a bit. So I quit the bowling alley, and then I actually went to uni. So after high school, I took a gap year, and I was a bit of a bum for like that, probably 10 months really. And then found a job in a bowling alley, quit after 3 weeks because it just wasn't paying any bills really. And then went to uni, and believe it or not, I studied policing.
Shit.
Yeah.
Are you undercover right now? You didn't actually drop out, boys.
Boys, we got him. Come in. Yeah, but like
Asian.
yeah, like I did that for a semester before I dropped out, just because it wasn't right for me. I didn't feel it. I wasn't really passionate about it, and also the topics that I learned during that time, or was going through during that time, I felt like didn't really relate to policing as a whole. And I don't know if the audience or even you guys agree with this, but I feel like with uni, some of the subjects are just there to fill time gaps, like just to fill slots and to make you guys pay for no reason. Like it's a scam, bro. Like, yeah, honestly. But I ended up dropping out, and then I found my factory job, worked there for about, I want to say 6 to 10 months or something like that. And it was just, you know, kind of like this brain dead job that
process work.
Yeah. You just kind of go in, do your job, leave, no work to take home or anything. Don't really make any friends. Like all the people that worked there were like older gentlemen anyway, who are like in their mid 40s or something. So I was like the youngest guy always, and stayed there. It was good money at the time when I was 18 because I was working night shifts from like 4 p.m. to like 12 a.m.
Well,
So did that for a good chunk of time before I ended up quitting that too, because I knew that, well, this isn't going to be, you know, something I do for the rest of my life. So I started looking for other things. And then at the time, my good friend Jason, he actually sent over a job ad, and it was to do data entry for the ATO.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah. So he actually,
all the boys were on that.
Yeah. He got a lot of got a lot of the guys on that. So a lot of the boys were working together, and it would just run amok, and it was pretty funny. But yeah,
well, you couldn't really run amok, right? Because you weren't allowed to talk.
Yeah, but like I guess like on our break times, we would just have fun like on our own, and then like we kind of created our own little like group, because in it was like a big kind of change for me, because I went from working this boring job with 40-year-old men to working this decent job that's
All of your mates.
all of my mates, and I'm in the aircon, you know, like in the factory it's hot, like during summer and all that. So it was like this kind of really big shift, and it was much more fun, even though I didn't get to talk, kind of like in freaking high school class where you're just like everyone's silent, like you would hear a pin drop, right? It was a big change. And from there, I think I worked at the data entry role for about a year. And that was really good money too, because at that point in time when I joined, the company that was dealing with the ATO's files were in backlog. So they had a lot of work. So when I first got in, they were like, hey, do you want to do overtime? I'm like, sure. What's that look like? And like, 7 days a week, 10 hours a day. And I was like, yeah. So I just pumped it. I did that for about 2 months, and until I couldn't hack it anymore. Yeah, but it was like 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. So like, and this was during winter as well. So like I'm waking up and it's like full dark, and I come home and it's still dark. Like, so I don't see the sun. Yeah, it was crazy, man. And so like full makes you depressed, but the money was good. But the money only goes so far until, you know, you can't hack it anymore, because I didn't have time to spend it anyway. Like I'm just sleep work. And then after that, I realized that this wasn't going to be a gig that I would see out for the rest of my life either. So I started really contemplating my life and thinking about what I wanted to do. And eventually, at that time, I was already really into the gym. I'd probably been training for like 2-3 years or something. And that's when I thought, okay, you know what? I might give personal training a try. And also because my brother was in the fitness industry. So I thought, okay, you know what? I'll give it a good hard crack. And I think I probably should have tried it earlier, but I was a bit stubborn because I didn't want to follow in his footsteps. But then once I realized, okay, now I'm just being silly. Like, why am I withholding my life because of this? And then I tried it, and I kind of, never looked back.
Oh, wow.
So you, from that point all the way till now, you've been personal training. How many years has that been?
About 6 years now.
6 years.
7 years, yeah. 7 years.
Yeah.
Can we also touch into that training period of your life? Like you mentioned you were training for 2 or 3 years before heading into personal training. You completely skipped this whole arc of your life that I know of. Like, didn't you hold some powerlifting records or some shit?
I did. Wow. At that point, so my fitness journey began with just, you know, your typical bro split bodybuilding style of training. And as I mentioned earlier, my brother was in the fitness industry and he had owned a powerlifting gym. And that's when I started to go to his gym to train, and I took up powerlifting. And yes, I did become Australia's national champion for the under 59 kilo category. But then look, as cool as it sounds, it's very easy when you're the only one in the weight category. There's not a lot of under, like I'm a small guy, like I'm not you know the biggest guy in the room, but it's easy when you're not competing. Or some comps I would have like maybe 1 or 2 people, but for the most part, like it was just me in the division. Like there were times where I would compete against people, but I guess I beat them. But man, like with powerlifting, honestly, unless you're in the probably 70 to 90 kilo divisions, like categories. Those are like, you know, stacked divisions. Those are where it's super competitive and it's hard to get on the podium. But if you're outside of that weight class, as a guy, if you're outside of that weight class or like under 70 kilos, it's not that big of a deal, I feel. To be honest,
did you ever meet Robert Wilkes?
Yeah.
Because he was the one who had that formula, right?
The Wilkes score?
Wilkes score, Are they still using that? I don't even know.
I don't think so. It's something else now. But
Yeah.
Is he cool?
No.
I don't know. I didn't really talk to him that much, to be honest. Yeah, but like, I don't know, just regular old guy, I guess. Yeah.
I feel like you're kind of underplaying the whole record thing, though. Like, it's, I don't know, man. It's like a national record, bro. You're like the best in Australia at 59 kilos.
At
like,
the time,
was there some level of at the time? But was there like some sort of clout behind it? Like, were you getting paid for this?
Nah, man. No shot. So powerlifting is such a like selfless sport, honestly. As with a lot of sports, right? When I don't think it's that big. It's gotten bigger for sure, but no, every competition that I competed in, there was never really a prize fund or anything. And anyone who competes, whether it's nationally, even internationally, you don't really get paid. You might get sponsors for like, and you might get free gear, like free lifting belts, free knee sleeves, or free shirts, whatever. I'm not sure to the degree of like those who go to compete at Worlds for Australia, because obviously I never got to that pedigree, but I mean, they might get a sponsored flight. I don't know, but I doubt it though. I doubt, because like at that point in time as well, I was actually going to compete in the, I don't even remember what it's called, some oceanic competition where I had to travel to Uzbekistan, but then I had broken my toe literally a couple months out from flying out to go compete internationally. But even then, when I did agree to go, everything had to be paid from my end. From flights to gear to everything, like the registration of a competition, everything, like nothing was covered at all. So that's just how the way it is, you know. And I'm sure, again, as with a lot of sports, when you're first starting out or whatever the case is.
And also it was a very niche sport at the time. Like I think I could like probably count the number of powerlifters that I knew, like people who dabbled in powerlifting on like two hands at that point. And like now, bro, like everyone,
a lot of people powerlifting. But I feel like it has dropped off a little bit more.
What are your guys' thoughts on powerlifting?
I used to think it was fucking amazing, bro.
Yeah, me too. I used to love it, but now I fucking hate it.
Why?
Well, I have competed in a few, like 2 comps. I didn't do that well in all of them, and I feel like every session is just a bit of a mind fuck.
Yeah,
and just like, I'm so weak this session. I was stronger last session.
Yeah,
and it's just like, it's like a toxic relationship, man.
Fair.
Didn't like it.
What about you, Lawrence?
At the time when I like started doing it, so I did 1 comp, and like I liked it, bro. I was in the gym for like 3.5 hours, and like I honestly liked it. I got 2 memberships as well because of that. Like, because my the gym that I went to, which was a local leisure center, one of the guys who worked there, shout out Zach if he's watching this, but he was paid by the hour, but by the leisure center to train old ladies and stuff if they need it. But he used to work at a powerlifting gym, and he also does strength and conditioning for like motocross and stuff. So he knew his shit, and he actually coached me for free. And he gave me like this program. It was like, he's like, you're going to train 5 days? I'm like, but I only want to train 3. He's like, all right, then you're going to have to train for 3.5 hours each time. I'm like, oh, fuck.
That's
good.
Nuts,
I loved it like that much that I ended up getting like 2 memberships because that gym closed at 9 p.m. So I would finish my workout at the 24/7 Fit and Fast at the time.
Wow.
Or I'll just go to Fit and Fast to do the whole thing. Yeah. So I liked it a lot, but then it got to a point where it just wasn't sustainable. It's a drag.
You
get bored and like you get fucking hungry. You have to like start smashing like gummy bears and stuff during your workout. So it just got pretty boring, and especially when you got to a point of diminishing returns. Like after I was like able to deadlift 200, like I know that's like rookie numbers now, but back then it was a fucking big deal. But yeah, like the increments just started getting smaller and smaller.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I lost patience with it.
And I think
yeah.
that's why powerlifting is such an appeal to beginners, because the gains are so exponential
Yeah.
at the beginning, and the barrier to entry is so low, right? You just
Yeah.
once you learn the patterns of the big three, the squat, bench, deadlift,
Yes.
and you have a proper program, bro, you don't even need proper nutrition, and you'll still make strength gains. Of course, proper nutrition to support your training will enhance the result, but yeah, you could just get away with putting in that time and effort, and you add like 50 kilos to your squat over 2 blocks of training, or even a block of training. That's why, like, when people go, I added 50 kilos to my total, or to my squat, or my bench, or my deadlift after like 1 block of training, I'm like, yeah, that's what's supposed to happen. Like, what are you talking about, bro?
It's with everything. Like, it's fucking when you start like martial arts, you'll start picking up things really, really quickly.
Of course.
You know, everything's just like exponential curve. Like, it would be very fast, and then it would just plateau at a certain point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a really good time with powerlifting. So that was it was kind of in fashion when I first started gym because of like Bak Kwan and all of that.
Omar Isof and all those guys.
Exactly.
Yep.
So I used to, like, first introduction was, I had some friends who were already into gym. They were like, oh, Justin, come along, come to his house. And then just the best memories, bro. Like 3 hours of like do one set and then talk for like 5 minutes. And then, all right, time to do my next set.
Yeah.
So it's just 3 hours every night. But it was like such good chats, like such good times.
It is.
Yeah.
And then we would always like fucking like dirty bulk. We would like, all right, let's go Macca's. We'll get like 10 chicken patties. And then it wasn't even the nuggets, bro. We would get asked for like, we want just the patties. And then they were like the best value for money.
Yeah.
But then I think everyone kind of dropped off of it, because for me it was a bit boring without my friends, and people stopped like training together as much. And like as you get a bit older, like you get busier, it's hard to
time's
like
the biggest
align.
thing. Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
So when I got to just doing it by myself, it was like, that's not fun anymore.
Exactly. And I think powerlifting has a very strong community, and that's probably another big appeal for a lot of people as well as beginners. But yeah, it does become unsustainable when your training sessions are like 2 to 3 hours at a time, and the first hour is usually just you doing one of the big lifts. And then once you're done with that, you do your accessories, and of course there's a lot of chit chat in between, and that's probably why it drags on for so long as well.
When we were that age, like, it was easy because we had nothing to do, right? Like, we would literally go to the gym at like 9 p.m. and if we finished at 12 a.m., it's like
not a big deal.
Not a big deal. But you can't do that as you're like approaching full-time work and all that, especially if you have kids. So yeah, it's definitely not something that you could do. Well, obviously there are like old powerlifters that are like over the age of like 30 and stuff, but it's just not sustainable for, the lifestyle that I wanted to live. Yeah, but you're definitely right. The community is, like, now that I think about it, the community is what kept me going at the start. Because like, we trained at the leisure center, but there were like 3 or 4 boys who were all just trying to increase their numbers, and we'd all just like watch each other do our PRs and stuff, like bring a bloody boombox so we don't have to listen to the radio music and all that. So yeah, it was like a really good time. We were all just trying to like increase and improve together. But I think when I quit that gym, that's when like everything started like going down, because I was powerlifting on my own basically. So yeah, it wasn't that fun.
Yeah.
So you're national champ. Like, I feel like you're underselling yourself, bro. Like, but like,
Professional athlete.
Like, were you have you taken a lot of lessons from that time in your life? Being competitive, like flying to other countries to compete. Like, yeah.
I think it taught me a lot of mental resilience, for sure.
Mental resilience.
Yeah. And it definitely opened my eyes to being in a competitive environment, because growing up, especially in high school, I wasn't very athletic. I wasn't very sporty. I don't know if you remember, but
I remember you would like throw the basketball here and there.
Yeah, but I was a pretty lazy kid growing up. Like, I was that kind of nerdy Asian gaming type, and I didn't participate in cross country. I didn't pick up any sports. Like, yeah, I throw a basketball here and there, but that's because my mates did it. But I was like never really good, or I never jumped in on any games. I would just kind of like throw just to shoot a hoop or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I never really got into any sports. And a big part of that is because I was always very afraid of getting injured, and I was afraid of just pain. And like the stories I hear, like, oh, people rolling their ankles or breaking this or breaking that. And I'm like, see, I don't see the appeal to that, because the fun of the sport wasn't worth that for me at the time. So yeah, I guess taking up powerlifting was a bit of a surprise as well. And like at the time, yeah, when I was powerlifting, in the thick of it, everyone looked at me as like, oh, this kind of like, he changed, you know, oh, he wasn't this guy growing up, da da da. And I still look back and I'm like, yeah, but it's still the same. Like powerlifting it's not the same as playing a sport, you know, like you're traveling, you're moving a weight from point A to point B, and it's through the shortest distance ever. That's the goal.
Well, like that's an individual sport. I think like I hear this from a few friends as well who have gone to like private schools, and sports was like compulsory. So yeah, they had to do weekend sports and play other schools. And they were like, when they have a kid, we're talking about like how they're going to raise their kid and that, they were like, oh, they'll have to do one individual sport. So something like jiu-jitsu, like Muay Thai, whatever, that's individual, and one team sport, because it teaches you how to be competitive in a team as well and communicate and work together. But with like, powerlifting, it's selfless sport. You're really just competing against like a couple of other people, or just competing against your total.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, like I wasn't really that into exercise as a whole growing up. And I think what really prompted me to join a gym was mainly my insecurity of my height. So for anyone who's watching this, I am 163/4 centimeters tall. So like 5'3.5", 5'4", for our American friends.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, but
flyweight in the UFC division.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, flyweight. Yeah, so I was obviously quite insecure growing up about my height, because I'm watching all my friends and my peer group, you know, go through puberty, and they're like getting taller and taller, and I'm like, wait a minute, when's this gonna happen for me? But apparently it did. But yeah, I don't know, just kind of flew over my head. But started the gym because of that. But yeah, man, in school I was never really that interested in sports. I remember I would get told off by my PE teacher for actively not participating. Yeah. Pretty interesting.
Oh, so you tried hard not to participate. Eh?
Yeah, like I was just not interested, you know. They're like, oh, do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? I'm like, no, not really. No. Like I just didn't care to.
Yeah.
And then one day he just told me off for it. I'm like, yeah, okay, like that's gonna do it. Like that's gonna achieve the effect you want, you know. Like, yeah, but that's kind of the gist of that arc, I guess.
Yeah. Have you played any team sports since then? Even if it's just like casual tags.
Do esports games count?
Yeah, I guess so. If you're competing for like money or something, or for a freaking keyboard.
No, but not really, man. Not that I can think of, to be honest.
Yeah. Did you? Because like me as well, I didn't really play too many team sports. Like we went to the same high school, and I wasn't actively trying to not participate, but I wasn't like, I didn't have this strong urge to be like, yeah, man, I want to play soccer. I want to play basketball. But like, basketball, actually, I kind of like this, so I did want to play. But
do you reckon that's because we're Asian?
Bro, our whole school was Asian, bro. Like 99% Asian, and there was like a decent amount of people who played sports.
True. Yeah. I don't know. I just felt like, for me anyway, growing up, like it wasn't a thing that was pushed on me as well. It was always just grades.
Yeah,
you know?
That's true.
Mathematics, be a doctor, be a dentist. Like,
yeah, likewise.
It was never like, oh, do you want to try this sport? Do you want to try this? Or even like anything in general, really. Like, do you want to try learn this or try learn that? It was just always about grades.
Yeah.
I
like, it's similar with me as well, or us, right?
But I actually, growing up, I actually kind of liked playing sports, but I was just very self-conscious, because growing up I was very quiet, and I would just be, and then I would be like, oh, I want to do good, but all the popular kids are better than me. Just scared. And then
likewise,
and then there came a point where, like, I remember in year 9 we had sports every Monday, and then there was this guy in my team that was would swear at you every time like you fuck, like super toxic teammate. Like let's say if you fuck up, he's like, "What the fuck are you doing, bro?" And then that actually flipped the switch. Like I didn't want to play sports anymore because I couldn't thrive in that environment, and I just didn't like getting told off by him.
Yeah,
because of course he was more popular, and I was just like I was a bit scared of him.
Put him in the rear naked, bro.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I saw him before jiu-jitsu class once. Oh, I didn't say hi though, but I just walked right past him.
Yeah.
I should fucking choke you out right now. But yeah, back to my point. I actually did like playing sports.
Yeah.
But I was just too scared to sometimes. Yeah. Like I love playing handball playing handball. And if I could play basketball, I would, but none of my friends played basketball, so I just stayed away from it.
Yeah, handball is a very high level sport, bro. Like even Kevin Rudd plays it, bro.
Kevin Rudd.
Kevin 07.
But I played handball in our front yard the other day.
Yeah.
And I still got the skills, man. I could still slug, still do everything.
That was a good game, man. Very good game.
Slog?
Yeah, still slug.
Yeah,
one bounce rule as well. High school rules as well.
It's funny you guys bring up handball because I was talking to a client this morning about handball, and because this client of mine, he's 40 years old and he has a daughter who is in primary school. She's 8 at the moment, and they still play handball.
Wow.
And so I was like, oh, good to know handball is still around. Yeah,
that's good.
And this is in the inner west, like not around Cabramatta. But I was like, oh wow, I'm shocked that handball is still around. I thought everyone's gonna be an iPad kid now and just be on their phones or whatever.
Yeah.
But no, people still play handball. So shout out to handball, really.
Funny thing you bring that up because I know this guy that I did jiu-jitsu with. He made it it's like his life mission to bring more awareness to handball. I don't know why. Like he wants to bring it to like high level, like Olympics and stuff. And
that's
like his ambition is to spread handball out there. Just like he that's what he lives for, man.
Fair enough.
Well,
He's
what a good guy.
He's literally trying to become a public speaker and to spread the word of handball around.
Nice. I hope he succeeds.
Yeah. Oh, that's crazy.
That'd be awesome. Handball in the Olympics. Imagine that.
Yeah. What about bull rush in the Olympics?
Oh, yeah. Bull rush. Yeah, you guys remember
that was a dangerous game, bro.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Yeah, stuck in the mud as
Is
well.
rugby in the Olympics? Like
Childhood
football?
games.
I think so.
I feel like it would be.
Rugby, like union, right? It should be.
Is it, I don't know.
I think it should be. Is it, guys? Can you tell us? Yeah,
let us know in the comments.
Yeah, your sport Olympic literate fans or sport literate fans, because we're not too sport literate. Yeah. But yeah, fucking that was. I guess that wraps up that arc, right? Like of personal. What was it again? Like personal training,
powerlifting,
getting
powerlifting. Yeah, my kind of training arc, and then circling back to the occupation side of things. After I started training, when I decided to quit my data entry role, at that point in time, I was really into training, powerlifting and stuff. And that's when I decided, okay, you know what? I'm going to give personal training a go as an occupation. And I guess I've never really looked back since. Yeah.
I heard like a stat. I probably heard it from you, but I hear it from so many people where it's like was it 70%, very high percentage, over 50% of PTs do not survive their first 6 months or something.
Yeah, 90%.
90% do not survive their first 6 months. That's crazy.
Or either that, or they usually survive up to 6 months. And the thing is, that stat was given to me when I was studying my certificate 3 and 4 in fitness in 2018.
Ooh.
Yeah, so
your first day sort of thing?
No, I can't remember when, but it took me by surprise because my teacher at the time, literally, he was looking at the class and he went, yeah, only 10% of you are going to make it. What are you talking about?
That's crazy.
Yeah. And then he said it was like 90% of personal trainers do not make it past the 6-month mark, and they end up leaving the industry, or they just go back to their old jobs, or they just don't manage to put food on the table.
I can see that. Like when we go to the gym, you just see trainers come and go. Like
there's always like a new face. I always love, like when I go to a new gym, I always just love like looking at the
all the time.
What did this guy study? What does he specialize in? And then 3 weeks later, I was like, oh fuck,
they're gone.
Taken off.
Either that, or like their photo is always there, but you never see them there.
Oh yeah. True.
Yeah, that happens a lot. Happens a lot.
Yeah, and like I think let me guess why, and then maybe you can confirm if it's the truth. Actually, we'll all guess why. right? Like just a short like reason. But I think it's because like being a PT is kind of like starting your own business, hey, or it is starting your own business.
Yeah.
And how the fuck are you going to get a typically 18-year-old or 19-year-old kid who just did 3 months at a like fitness institute to get their Cert 3 and 4 in fitness to run their own business? Like how do they start selling? How do they start marketing? How to manage finances and all that shit? Like how do you expect them to do that? And that's typically why they fall off.
Yeah.
What do you?
That's pretty much what I would say as well. It's just like there's just not. It's hard to sell yourself when you first get when you have no credibility. It's like applying for a job and they're like, oh, after you graduate, and they're like, oh, we need a year of experience at least. But like, how the fuck do we get that?
Exactly.
Yeah,
it's
like
one of
that.
those things. Yeah.
Like you don't really have credibility.
Yeah, I feel like I 100% agree. It's like probably something like, you know, they get into it because like they love the gym, they love like lifting heavy, but then that's not the job. Like it doesn't. That's not nowhere near the most important factor. The most important is treating it as a business.
Because that as a job is more like a fitness model. Hey, that.
Like liking training and whatnot. Yeah.
So if you're like posing for like men's health and stuff.
Yeah,
like
or being a fit influencer. Yeah.
I feel like even that is like more about selling yourself.
In some ways. Yeah. But yeah, pretty much you're on the money there. To add to that, I think it's also to do with the lack of social skills or the lack of a soft skill in communication as well as sales, as well as negotiating, as well as just having an offer that you'll even present to a potential client. And that's where most personal trainers struggle. And it's hard. It's hard to, one, approach a stranger and even start talking to them for a lot of people. And two, get rejected by that stranger.
Yeah.
And even if you don't get rejected, three, what are you offering? And how long for? How much is it? What does your service entail? How long do they have to work with you for? You know, and not every client is going to be, you know, sunshine and rainbows, because not every person is the same and not every person is going through the same struggles. And it's hard to even just coach someone to do the thing that they need to do because of external life factors. And because of that, they often don't see results and then they leave anyway. So there's just all these little factors where it's like the issue of even just getting your first client and then retaining that client.
Yep.
And then there's the issues with the necessary task that you need to do to achieve either one of those things of getting a client and retaining a client. And the first step is always, talking to a stranger. So that's the thing. And I've mentored trainers in the past, and I started becoming very cynical, to be honest. And I just started telling people who would come to me, asking me to mentor them or looking for a job that, hey, look, are you willing to do X, Y, Z? And as soon as I hear any ums, ahs, or buts, I'm like, you're not right for the job.
Wow, bro.
Straight away, because I'm just not going to waste their time, right? Like, this is why like 90% fail, 90%. And that's why I give every single person that stat. Every single person I've spoken to that either wants to become a trainer, is a trainer, or wants to work with me or wants to be mentored, I give them that stat, and then I lay out the entire expectation or the list of things that they should be doing or need to be doing. And those who take it on board succeed. Those who don't fail.
Can we kind of role play that situation? Because I feel like it's such a common thing, you know.
Yeah.
People want to
That's a good idea.
Get into it. So like I'm like kid, like 20 years old, like I'm really into the gym, and I'm like, I want to become a personal trainer, bro. Like,
my first question would always be, why do you want to become a personal trainer?
I like the gym. Don't go to uni. I feel like I'm pretty good at talking to people, but seems like something I want to do.
And okay, let me ask you this, right? If I put you in a gym, how would you go about getting your first client?
Oh, doesn't the gym do that for me?
No, absolutely not.
I don't know. How do you get your clients?
First, you'd have to actually go up and talk to people.
Just strangers in the gym.
Yep. And introduce yourself.
Damn.
But then even then, upon that first initial contact, you're not looking to sell them straight away. So that's something you got to be mindful of. And another thing about being a personal trainer as well is that you don't get paid by the gym to work. In fact, it's the opposite. You pay the gym to work at the gym because you have to pay rent because you're using their space, you're using their database of clients, and you're pretty much using or renting out that facility to operate your own business. So not only do you have to talk to strangers, you have to also fork out money weekly in order to stay there, to work there. So your first few clients, the pay from your first few clients aren't even going to go to you. It's going to go to the gym for rent. And is that something you're ready for?
Damn, probably not, eh?
And then that's the thing. Like, that's the thing, right? And rent can be anywhere between $200 to $400 a week.
Oh, wow.
$200 to $400 a week for a fresh PT who doesn't know how to sell, doesn't know how to talk to people, or doesn't have the guts to talk to people. It's daunting, right? And oftentimes, like, you're not going to be forced to pay rent right away. You can negotiate it if you know how to negotiate it. Yeah. But also, these gyms, they prey on these PTs. Yeah. Right, because they make you sign contracts for like a year, 6 months, whatever, and they might give you 2 months rent free. But then let's just say you sign a 6 month contract, give you 2 months rent free, you still have to pay 4 months of rent. And if you didn't sign any clients, you got to pony up that money regardless. They chase you, man. Because that stuff adds up, right? Like $400 times 16 weeks, or $200 times 16 weeks. It's a decent amount of money.
So it's typically $200 a week for rent?
Yeah, if that's like lower end. Yeah, cheaper end.
Wow. Cheaper end as well.
Like if you go to like North Shore, like, you know, city
Fitness
gyms.
First and stuff.
Yeah, like you're looking at $400, $450 a week, man. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but you're also charging a premium.
What do you get for that? Like for the like 200 to 400 you're paying them?
Like you get the space. That's it, man. Like if you're lucky, they'll have like a PTM, so a PT manager, and they will guide you or mentor you or give you leads or help you with, you know, signing clients. But again, at the end of the day as well, you have to be so good at your craft and you have to be able to deliver results. So I always come back to the 2 R's when I mentor my trainers: results and rapport.
Yeah.
If you can't deliver those 2 things, doesn't matter how good of a salesman or how good your body looks or any of the sort, like, they're not going to stay with you because you can't build a solid rapport and a solid relationship. Or 3 R's, I guess: results, rapport, relationship. If you don't have those 3, forget about it. If you have at least 2 out of 3, you could at least maintain a client for a decent amount of time because they probably, like, for example, rapport, relationship.
Yep.
If they don't get a result, but they really like you, they'll probably stay with you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Or like, relationship, result, whatever. But you need to at least deliver some sort of value. Otherwise, they won't stay. And a lot of the times these days, especially these younger people, the younger generations who are getting into the fitness industry because they love the gym, a lot of the times I'm noticing that they struggle with communication, especially because they're being brought up as iPad kids. Oh, yeah. As an example, like very generalized, extreme example. I understand that. But a lot of the times, it's not that people can't talk or don't know how to speak. It's just the fact that you are going up to a complete stranger. Right? Like, when was the last time you guys made a new friend? Like, we're just talking to sober, by the way. Sober. Like, no liquid courage involved. No like introduction or like, hey, Lawrence, meet so-and-so. Like, this is my friend. Nah, like just a straight up random person at a random spot, whatever the case is. Yeah. Like, that shit's tough, man. Yeah, that's tough. It's tough. And that's why a lot of them fail.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm supposed to do a cold approach. I said on the podcast. Still haven't done it, bro. It's scary.
Yeah. Brendan was actually coaching him through it in that episode as well.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, but I guess it's kind of a similar situation.
Yeah. Actually, can you bring him to the gym with you if you still work at a physical gym so he can approach a client to sign him on as a PT? Like, that would be easier, right, than approaching a girl.
I reckon.
I feel like that would.
Nah, it's still pretty scary. I don't know which one's harder, but it's still pretty hard.
It's one of those things, like, because I wasn't always the person that you see before you today. Like, I wasn't always this, you know, outspoken, energetic person who's confident and can easily just walk up to a stranger and talk to them. Now I can because of my job. But yeah, it takes repetition, it takes practice, and you really have to kind of just throw yourself in the deep end and expose yourself to that fear again and again until it becomes second nature, and then you don't fear it anymore. And that's how, I guess.
How did you do it the first time?
Yeah, I was gonna ask that.
You know what? I was. Oh, actually, the main time that I do remember. I remember I was at my very first gym that I used to work at, a commercial gym, and my brother came in one day. So my brother was the one that mentored me, and I kid you not, the gym was kind of empty at the time, but there was a few members that were training. He points at this woman who was training at the time, and she also had earphones in, by the way. So it's like the worst, right? Like, yeah. And he's like, you see her? I'm like, yeah. He's like, go talk to her. I'm like, you're kidding. Like, you're absolutely. I'm like, I'm like umming and eyeing, and I'm like, oh, you know, she's wearing earphones, like da da da. I'm like giving every excuse under the sun. But yeah, like, because growing up, I always listened to my brother. Partly because I was also fearful of him, but because of that, and also because I knew that this is only going to help me, I forced myself to do that. And like I was saying earlier, that first point of contact, you're not trying to sell them. Like, it's just not going to happen, right? It's like, oh, hi, my name's Gary. Do you want to be my client? Like, no, that's not going to happen. So yeah, that kind of took the stress off of that a little bit more, because all I had to do was just go up and say hi and just introduce myself. And then it became second nature, where it was like, hi, my name's Gary. I'm the personal trainer here at so-and-so gym. Or, hi, my name is Gary. I am new here, and I just thought I'd introduce myself. And it would be the same two lines that I'm just going to recycle every time, because you're talking to a different person anyway, so it doesn't matter, right? And then just repetition, and you just keep doing it. And then eventually you kind of get over it. Yeah.
Okay, let's pretend I'm like a bit more of a serious one. I guess before was kind of not really serious, and then you kind of bounced me back. Let's say I'm like, take like fitness very seriously, willing to do that. Let's say you're trying to set me up for success in my first like 6 months. Like, what's a really detailed plan of like, okay, this is what you should be doing like every day. These should be your goals, like, I don't know, every like month or so.
Yeah.
Like, how would you coach me through to become a successful personal trainer, like, for my career?
It's very simple. And it all just depends on this question. The answer to this question, are you willing to give up 40 hours of your time for free every week to live at the gym and not get paid for it, while talking to every single member that steps through that door?
So from 8 hours a day.
Yeah,
I'm just hanging out at the gym.
Yep. It could be any 8 hours. It doesn't have to be like 9 to 5. It could be 8 to 12 and 3 to 7 as an example, because as a personal trainer, you work outside of normal hours, because normal hours, everyone else is at work.
Yeah.
So yeah, but you should be ideally spending at least 40 hours a week at a gym and expect to not get paid for it, because that's how I lived for my first year.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And this is the thing, when I have these interviews or consultations with trainers, right, I'm probing them from an angle of whether or not they're willing to make the sacrifice. And that will tell me a lot. That'll tell me a lot. And here's the thing about fitness institutions, right? They sell you the dream. They sell you the dream of being a PT, of being an online coach, living that nomadic lifestyle, that laptop lifestyle. Where like, oh yeah, sipping Mai Tais on the beach, making six figures.
Digital
like,
nomad.
Yeah, all that bollocks, right? Like, they sell you the dream because the entry to barrier to become a PT is so low. All you have to do is just pay. You pay, you get your qualifications, and you're free to PT. The entry, and that's why 90% fail, because the entry to becoming a PT is so low, and the enjoyment of going to the gym is so high. Like the passion for the hobby is so high, and the entry barrier is so low. So everyone joins, and then once they join and they get their qualification, then they get thrown in the gym. It's like, oh wait a minute. This isn't what I expected. Like, I don't know how to get a client. I don't know how to put food on the table, So then, I just start asking them, like, in these interviews and consultations, I'm like, you willing to put in the 40 hours? Are you willing to, eat crap for a little while? And I pretty much do the opposite. I sell them the nightmare. I don't sell them the dream. I sell them the nightmare. And I give it to them in reality, basically, and I tell them this is what you should expect, and I use myself as an example. So for my first month of PT, my first week of PT, working 40 hours, I probably made like $40 or $60. Putting in 40 hours at the gym, yeah. And then my first month of PT, 160 hours, so 40 hours every week, I probably made about $400.
Holy crap, bro.
So yeah, I could barely afford anything really, petrol, all that. Yeah, and like Lawrence said at one point, I was cutting my own hair because I literally could not afford haircuts. Yeah, that's how tough it was. And that's why I don't like when people tell me, oh yeah, I'm thinking of getting into PT because I like the gym. Like, it's just not enough. It's not enough. Yeah, like you have to really be willing to eat crap. Otherwise, you're just wasting money. And these qualifications aren't cheap. Like, they'll be, a couple grand, right? And a lot of times, like, it's going down the drain.
Yeah.
So that's why I always try to sell them the nightmare.
Damn. Okay.
But yeah, sorry, to answer your question, the plan is easy, bro. You live at the gym and you have to talk to everyone. That's the first step. And most people can't even do that. Or they don't want to, because 40 hours is a lot of time and you're not getting paid for it. So that question alone like stumps a lot of people. And even if it doesn't, and they're like, yep, I'm willing to put in time. Okay, cool. Now the next step is I need you to talk to every single person that walks through that door. That isn't a worker there. That isn't a worker there. Like, yeah. And I don't care if they're bigger than you, they're leaner than you, they're more shredded than you, they're more knowledgeable than you. You have to be willing to talk to them. And it's not even about just getting them as a client, even though they might be more experienced than you. It's about breaking down that fear of talking to a stranger. Because if you can't do it with everyone, there's just no point. Like, you need to be adaptable. You need to be versatile as a person to be able to coach people from all walks of life. And that's why I get them to do this. And a lot of the times, that stumps. Those two questions alone stump everyone. And I'm like, then you're not right. You're not fit to be a PT. Like, you're not right for it.
Those are pretty high bars to be successful, but
that's why 90% fail. Yeah.
Let's say I'm willing to do that. Let's get like very specific for like the serious people like out there. Okay, like what hours should I like? I don't care which hours you assign me. I'll be in the gym and I'll talk to everyone. What's the best hours to be there?
Probably 6 to 10, and then 3 to about 7 or 8 if you're willing to work more than 8 hours. Because those are going to be, the peak times where people go to the gym before and after work.
So 6 a.m. to 10 a.m.?
Yep.
And then 3 p.m. to
about 7, 8 p.m.
To 7, 8 p.m. Okay. And then that's Monday to Friday. Should I be spending time like Saturday, Sunday there?
You probably don't have to, just because most people don't go to the gym on the weekends. Like, the weekends are a bit quiet.
Yeah.
Of course, there are, some gyms that are quite busy on the weekends, but for the most part, the gyms that I've worked at anyway, the gyms are pretty quiet on the weekends. But Monday, I don't know if you guys have noticed, Monday at a commercial gym is always a zoo.
Yeah.
And then it dies down as the week progresses.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It always dies down as the week progresses, because like everyone's just kind of tuning out and it's Friday, or they go out to party or whatever the case is. They want to chill at home with their family, partner, whatever.
Yep.
But Monday is always the busiest. So yeah, like the weekdays are non-negotiable. You have to spend time there. But yeah, weekends, not really.
Yeah. Okay.
But in terms of like the plan and what I'll have you do, honestly, man, you'd have to first start, and this is why there's a rent-free period of like 6 to 8 weeks, maybe longer, maybe shorter, depending on your negotiation with the gym owner. But you have these rent-free periods, so it gives you time to build up, right? Because like I said earlier, you're not going to make the sale on the first point of contact unless the member reaches out to you as because they're interested in PT, then fair enough. Yeah, you could probably just try to sell them right away. But if you're a new PT and you're new to that gym as well, and that's your new home, virtually no one's going to come up to you and be like, hey, Lawrence, I need help. Like, have you guys ever inquired with a PT at your commercial gym?
No,
Exactly. Like, it just rarely happens. And because of that, you have to be the one to make the first point of contact. And after you do, you then start to cultivate a relationship, and then you start talking to them about their goals. And then you start to see where they need help or how you could just offer value. And then you become the first person in the forefront of their mind that goes, I wonder if Lawrence knows about this thing, or I wonder if Lawrence knows about an exercise that'll grow this, or some nutrition tips. And they start asking you questions. And that's when you can go, hey, look, I'm actually doing like some sort of promotion of some sort, right? Where I'm giving away 2 free sessions because I'm a new trainer, or giving away 2 free sessions to all members. Like, would you be keen? And then you go from there, and you kind of take them through a session. And at this point, after you take them through their 2 complimentary sessions or whatever the case is, you should hopefully have an offer that you can sell them, right? And create a service out of your PT. So the thing with PT is that a lot of people think it's just an in-house session. and for some personal trainers it is, but it shouldn't be, because obviously you should come at fitness with a holistic approach, right? With training, sleep, nutrition, stress management, things like that. If you really want to build muscle, lose fat, get stronger in powerlifting, whatever the case is, because they all go hand in hand. So you would tailor your service to that and sell that to the person.
Right.
And you mentioned that like typically people won't come up to you and ask you for services and stuff, especially if you're a new PT. Like, how long did it take you to actually start getting inbound leads?
Oh, probably a year.
A year.
Yeah, probably a year. I think things really started to take off probably in my second year, but I would say probably a year in, when I started really getting results at the gym. And I started, once you have like a handful of clients and you're seen at the gym consistently, because you guys have your own commercial gym memberships, right? And you go to the gym. Do you see your trainers at the gym?
Yeah. Like the trainers that work there?
Yeah.
I do see them.
Here and there, or all the time?
I see mine all the time.
Oh, okay, that's good. He's probably doing well then. He's probably killing it. But majority of the times, right, when you go to a commercial gym, they probably have like 6 trainer posters on the wall or something, and you probably only see like 1 or 2, or maybe none at all. Yeah. Right? And that's the issue. But once you start getting a handful of clients and you're there all the time and people see you training clients, they kind of create this perception of you like, oh, he must be doing something right, or he must know something because he's got clients and he's working with people. Or maybe you just look like you deliver a fun session or something and people want to kind of join in on that and they start inquiring. Yeah, I would say about a year in, after I had a handful of clients, people started kind of inquiring.
And what type of like clients do you typically attract? Like, is there a specific subcategory? Is it like old ladies looking to get better at lawn bowls or something like that?
When I was still in the gym, it was like a big mix. Yeah. I wouldn't say I attracted any sort of niche clients, but as I've progressed in my career, I mainly work with weight loss clients, more specifically women and women's health. But right when I first started, I didn't really worry about any niche. You kind of take what you can get because you're struggling to put food on the table. So that was the mindset back then. And to be honest, that's not good as well, because sometimes you get clients that aren't really there for the result, and for me, like that kind of plays on my mind a little bit, because it feels like I'm ripping them off, or it feels like I'm doing them a disservice or injustice, right? And it makes you feel bad. So there's that as an issue as well. But yeah, like back when I was still in the gym, it was just kind of anyone and everyone I could get.
Okay. Then who's your favorite profile? Is it like Kevin Ewan who's trying to get shredded for Midnight Mafia, or or someone just trying to lose some weight, like after some pregnancy? What's your favorite or most easy to work with client?
Oh, anyone who is willing to learn and make sacrifices.
Oh yeah.
So like although I work a large part of my portfolio at the moment are like women who are trying to lose weight. Yeah. But honestly, I'm willing to take on anyone who's just willing to learn and make sacrifices and execute the action plan. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, because that's what makes your job a bit more rewarding, right? Because like if you do coach someone who's a bit more stubborn and they might even stay with you and not even cancel their agreement with you, like you're still getting money, but it's just not a fun time.
Yeah, exactly. And I've had a few clients like that, and then it just becomes draining as well, because like they're not there for the reason that they say they're there for, you know, and again, it just weighs on your mind a little bit. Yeah. So yeah, there's that as well. But to answer your question, anyone who's willing to learn and make sacrifices.
No, that's good. Yeah. Well, yeah. If you guys need any personal training stuff, you can go see him. Are you still as harsh to your clients? Like, do you take a bit of a softer approach now, or do you just go like, hey, bro, if you don't want to lose any weight, just go somewhere else?
I do and I don't. I think it's person dependent, like individual dependent. Yep. But I think ever since becoming a Christian, like I'll take a much softer approach. But I still have days where I would revert back to my old ways, because old habits die hard. So I'm a bit more of a direct coach, and I'm a bit more of a direct person. So I call a spade. And if someone's mucking around too much, then I'll tell them. And I'm like, hey, look, you told me you wanted to achieve this, but your actions aren't in alignment with your results. So it's like, what are you really after, you know? And you're forking out all this money and I feel bad taking it, and I'll keep taking it if you want me to, but it's like, you know, what are you doing here? You know what I mean? And I'll have those conversations, and I have had those conversations, and those conversations, honestly, as harsh as they can be, are the conversations that clients need to hear, and they're the conversations that save our relationship as client and coach, and they're the conversations that end up generating the result that they're after. Because a lot of the times they just kind of skate through and nobody says anything to them.
That's true.
And when they do kind of hear it's harsh at first, but it's also refreshing to hear because they've never had anyone and a lot of the times when they come to me, I'm like, what do you need help with? Oh, accountability, da 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 da. And then at the time when I'm, you know, kind of drilling them in some ways, people often go silent. And after they go silent, I'm like, how are you feeling? And I'm like, oh, you know, that wasn't nice. I'm like, yeah, well, that's accountability. So, you know, like, it's like, well, you know, I can try it the nice way, but if I do sometimes, right? I try the nice way. I'll be gentle. I'll be soft. I'll gentle parent them. But sometimes you do that, and in the following week you do a checkup call and it's still the same thing, and it's like, okay, well then maybe if I want to give leeway, I'll do it again. But after the second time, it's like, how many more times do you want to do this? Because you said the same thing last week and the week before that. So now it's like, I got to lay down the hammer. And I wouldn't have had to if we kind of followed through, you know what I mean? That's that. So I do try the soft approach, but sometimes there's the efficient approach and there's the effective approach.
It depends on the person, hey. And you just adapt to their learning style. If you guys want more water, by the way, I'll hand this jug.
Does that approach usually work? Like, let's say when you do have that hard conversation with them, do you see them just flip the switch a lot of times?
I'd say if I had to take a guess, 7 out of 10 times,
7 out of 10 times. That's pretty good. It's very good. Okay.
Now, you mentioned just now that ever since you became a Christian, so like that's also something that I've like only recently learned. Like, we don't get the chance to hang out that much anymore, but here and then.
It's because of him, not me, but yeah.
I just don't fucking like this guy. Last time I went to the gym with him, he's like, how much do you want this, bro? Do you really want to like stay at like this weight for the rest of your life? I'm like, bro, that's not nice. I'm not talking to this guy ever again. But here we are, got him on the podcast, bro. So like, you know, we do get like the chance to get coffee and that, and just to catch up and talk shit. But I haven't seen you for maybe like 2 months, I think. So yeah, it's been a while. So yeah, but probably ever since like New Year's Eve or New Year's Day. Like, tell us about that, the whole journey about becoming a Christian, and like where did this all start?
Yeah, it's a bit of a long one, so I'll try to fast track it. But basically, as I honed in on my craft as a personal trainer, I got better and better at delivering results, and I got better and better at coaching, right? And I was getting more and more clients. And at one point, I was working with about 45 clients, and that was me blasting probably about, 30 sessions a week at the gym, plus probably 20 online clients. So I probably had like 25 in-person clients and then 20 online clients mashed together, and it was a lot. And I was making very good money for my age at the time. And that's when I kind of fell into a life of partying and drugs, and it became an addiction for sure. And that probably lasted for about 5 years. Then when I realized how destructive my lifestyle was and had become, that's when I decided, okay, I got to get sober. But also during that time, I had moved gyms. So I used to work at a gym that was close to my home, and then I moved to another gym at a different suburb about 20 minutes away from home. And this suburb that I worked at, it's Marylands for anyone that knows, is very the demographic there were predominantly like Middle Eastern, and the people there were very religious. The members at my gym were very religious. My clients were religious, and it was a split between, Christianity and the Islamic faith. So me being me, I'm very curious as a person. So I love to have a chat, and I eventually just started asking and talking to my clients about, God, faith, the Bible. And I would also, I had clients in both different faiths, and I would talk to both parties, and I just started learning more and more, understanding more and more. And at that point in time, I think I was probably going through the hardest time of my life, and also I was trying to get sober and, you know, not drink, party, do drugs anymore. And one day I went up to my client, his name's Rob, and he's an older gentleman. He's probably in his 40s or 50s. I can't remember, but he is a Christian and a very devoted one. And at that point in time, I would say I was agnostic at the time. I knew there was something, but I wasn't really sure on what. And I wanted something to believe in because, like I said, I was kind of in this low point of my life. So I was looking for a symbolism of hope, right? And that's exactly what I said to Rob. So one day I'm training Rob and I'm like, hey, Rob, I'm thinking of getting baptized. Because in my head, I thought, and baptism isn't just something you can go do, by the way. And I'm still not baptized now, right? But I do identify as a Christian. But yeah, baptism isn't just something that you go to a church and be like, hey, look, I want to get baptized. Like, dip me underwater. That's not how it works. But yeah, I thought that's how it worked. So I went up to Rob and I'm like, hey, Rob, I'm thinking of getting baptized, because I wanted his suggestion on which church I should go to. But instead of him giving me like advice or like a destination to go visit, he was like, why? I'm like, oh, wait, hold on. Like, I thought you would welcome me with open arms.
I thought you would take me to the showers right now and pump my head.
Like, I thought you would, yeah, legit. I thought he was going to welcome a brother in Christ, you know? Like, come on, mate, open arms. But straight up, he was like, why? And I'm like, huh? What do you mean, why? and then I'm like, well, if I had to give you an answer, I'm just looking for like a symbolism of hope. Like, I just want to be hopeful again. And then he goes, yeah, look, even if you went to the church and you said that, right, the pastor, priest, he's going to ask you the same question. He's going to ask you like, why? How's your relationship with Jesus? Like, do you have a relationship with Jesus? Like, again, it's not just something you go and do, because they don't just want any Joe Blow to come in and go, okay, I'm a Christian now, I'm going to get baptized. So instead, Rob goes, look, why don't you go pick up a Bible and start reading that first? And at that point in time, I didn't know that there are different versions of the Bible. I only knew of the King James Version, which is very kind of Shakespearean language, like art thou, that kind of language, right? And yeah, I was like, oh, well, I don't even understand that dialogue. And then, so how am I going to read it? And he's like, oh, there are different versions. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And then he goes, why don't you go pick up the children's Bible? I'm like, children's Bible? He's like, yeah, children's Bible. It's in English, completely English, and it's a condensed version. And there's illustrations. Yeah. So like proper baby steps, you know. And I'll go, oh, okay. Well, if there's like that, you know, option, then sure, I'll go do that. So on that same day, I drove to Dimmick's, and a bookstore for those that don't know, and I sought after I looked up for a children's Bible, and I found the exact one. Like, it had illustrations. It was condensed. It was still 500 pages, but it's condensed. So the Bible itself, I think, is about probably 1,500 pages or something. The actual thing, maybe more. I don't know. I could be wrong. But yeah, I pretty much blasted through the children's one, and I loved it. Absolutely loved it. I loved the stories. I loved the timeline of it all, and the learning, the teachings, and the wisdom behind what you read. It just makes sense. So I know a lot of people kind of bag on religion a little bit, but here's the thing, right? For me anyway, ever since I met Jesus, my life has only gotten better. Yeah. I've only learned to be a better person. The things that I read, and I'm still going through the actual Bible now. After I finish children, I'm going through the whole thing now, and I'm still kind of working my way through it. As I'm reading it, I've only taken away lessons that I've been able to apply to my life, and it's become more fruitful. I am now more at peace. Of course, there are some turbulent times, and you know, you go through some tumultuous periods in life, but I think having read the Bible and becoming a Christian, like you learn to navigate certain situations a little bit differently. Like you know me. Like Lawrence knows me, right? Like would you agree that I was pretty hot-headed growing up? Yeah. Instantly,
straight away, bro. Straight away.
Man, don't even hold back, G. But I was very hot-headed growing up, right? Like, and what how would you, I guess, kind of describe me now?
definitely a lot more calm. Like here and then when I speak to you, you still have those moments like what the fuck, like what? Like it's definitely gone a lot. The crashing out and stuff has toned down a lot. Like it wasn't that bad. It was crashing out like fucking breaking shit. I don't know if you're doing that in your house, but like when you were out, like you weren't like getting into fights or whatever, like physical altercations. But it seems like you were just like pissed off
all the time.
Like, all the time. Yeah. And it was like quite negative.
Yeah, very negative, Nancy.
Yeah, but now it's like I can feel it. You can feel the energy as well when we're talking. It's like you're focusing less on the problems, but more like solutions, I guess.
I kind of just try to take it as it comes, but like that's all thanks to Jesus, honestly. But as I've grown to I guess live out in faith and read the Bible more and more, I've only seen positives is what I'm trying to say. But that is kind of how I got into the Christianity arc.
Oh. Now when people say like they met Jesus, because I'm not like too religious. If anything, I would like default to like Buddhism because that's what I grew up with. But I haven't looked too much into Christianity. But when people say like they met Jesus, like does that mean like there's a time in their life where they've actually like met Jesus, like spoken to Jesus, or does that just mean like when you started to be a Christian?
For me, when I say meet Jesus, I mean from when you hear about him, you learn about him, you understand him, and you see where he's coming from, and then you start to develop a relationship by getting into the Word and through prayer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that's how I see it, and that's what I mean by it.
Yeah,
it's not like literal,
like no Jesus sighting, like in your dreams.
Yeah. But it's more so figurative. I suppose. Yeah.
Oh. So,
but in some senses though, it does feel literal when I guess at times when you're praying and you just feel, okay, I'll tell you about the first time I ever prayed. And I even have messages to back this up. I messaged Rob right after this because I broke down in tears on my first. So I've prayed before in the past, right? But it was just insincere. It was disingenuous. Like at the time, I didn't even know what I was praying to.
Yeah.
And then one day I was at home and I can't remember what happened, but it was something happened, and I was home alone, and I kid you not, I'm just in my bedroom, and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna give this prayer thing another shot. And at that point in time, I think I was already reading the children's Bible. I was going through it, and from there, I was going through something, and I just closed the door, and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna give this prayer thing another go. Went down on my knees. Prior to that, I never like went on my knees, bowed down or anything. I just kind of like look up at the sky and I just talk, right?
Yeah.
Or in my head, I'm just like looking, close my eyes, hold my hands together, you know, that kind of thing. So it was like never sincere, never genuine. That one time, so this would have been, I think, 2023 sometime. I was going through something, I can't even remember what it was, but I decided to pray about it, and I just went on my knees in my bedroom. I closed the bedroom door, went on my knees, and I just put my elbows on the bed and clasped my hands together, and I just started praying, right? And it was a mixture of me praying in my head and saying it out loud, like kind of half and half. And I kid you not, I was praying about the situation, and then I was just telling him like, hey, look, I'm not even sure if you're real. At that point, I was kind of like getting into it. And in that phase, Christians will call it, well, they'll label it as the Holy Spirit is knocking on your door. Yeah. So in Christianity, they believe that our God, our Creator, comes in three forms. So the Heavenly Father, Jesus the Son, and the Holy Spirit, the Holy Trinity, right? And as someone is transforming in their life and they're beginning to find Christ or find religion, or however you want to look at it, they call that like as if the Holy Spirit's knocking on your door, as like come home sort of thing, right? So that's kind of the phase I was in. And I was on my knees praying, and I was praying to him about the situation, and I was kind of like half in, half out, and like, look, I don't know if you're real, and I don't even know if this message is going to go anywhere, but right now I am struggling. I don't know what to do. I don't even know. I was probably broke. I probably had a bottomless pit of just friggin' problems that were never ending. And I'm like, I'm tired. I don't know if I can do this. I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't know how I'm going to get through this. And I feel like if anyone's to help me, if anyone can help me get through this, it's going to be you. And if you can hear me, please just take all of this off my hands, right? And just help me, please. And I bawled my eyes. As soon as I finished my sentence, I bawled my eyes. Like I just cried, broke down, and I just felt like this weight lift off my shoulders. Like I was just so much lighter. Nothing changed. The problem was still there.
Yeah.
Like everything was still happening. But literally after that prayer, everything changed. Nothing changed, but everything changed. You know what I mean? Like just my worldview changed. Like at that point in time, it felt like he was there with me in the room. It felt like he heard me. It felt like I had already received the solution to my problems. And then right after that, I have the message as well. I just have to scroll up, but I messaged Rob right after that prayer and I said, hey, I just did my first prayer. I broke down, and I thanked him. And he was, he was very happy to hear. And he was like, that's it, man. Like that's the thing. Right. And I'm like, shucks, like I didn't realize, like, and then ever since then my faith has only grown stronger and stronger. Of course you have days where you doubt, right? Because without doubt there is no faith, just like without the good there is no bad, or without the bad there is no good. So you have days where you still doubt, and I still have days where I doubt, and that's all a part of the journey. And but since then my faith has only grown.
I see. Wow, that's a lot, man.
Yeah.
Like, well, Justin, like I know you grew up like Christian, right? Like, what's your take on this, man?
A lot to think about. I mean, I feel like thinking back to growing up Christian, it was something that, family like kind of makes you do. So one thing that stood out when you were talking about it was like the sincerity in prayer. Don't know if I've ever like sincerely prayed before. And I think for something like that, it's something that you really need to get to like on your own.
100%.
Like a lot of your story kind of reminds me of a friend that I have. He converted to Christianity in a similar time frame, to be honest, like about like 2 years ago. And the way he's described his journey like felt very similar, where he had a very powerful moment in prayer, where it was kind of like when the Holy Spirit was knocking on his door. Very similar situation. And then his faith's only gotten stronger since then. So it does seem like it's just interesting to me. Like it's a very similar pattern.
And it's just it feels like more and more people are coming to Christ as well recently. At least, I don't know, that's what my algorithm's showing me. I don't know about your boys, is like, how what you're building
Instagram
brick
studies.
by brick. Joe, you hear that? But like I'm noticing like a lot of people converting, and I've seen like some of the crazy videos I see on TikTok, right? Like, for example, someone who used to be a man who transitioned into a female, found Christ and went back to being a man. I've seen a lot of those videos. Or the opposite, a woman turning into a man, finding Christ, turning back into a woman. A lot of those types of videos. Or like people who were, for example, sex workers, or like OnlyFans workers, and they turned their life around and found Christ and chose a different occupation, or maybe they're now spreading the word, spreading the gospel, as I'm trying to do right now as well. Find Jesus. But anyway, so man, it is a very similar pattern, and it's something that is happening all over the world, and I'm glad it is.
I have seen like do you follow like Johnny Chang?
Oh yes. Yes.
I did, like I saw like one of his like old interviews like for the first time a couple years ago of like there was this Filipino guy who got deported from LA because he was a gangster, but he had this like basically interview with Johnny as well, and that was before Software Underbelly.
Oh, okay,
and he talked
before he blew up.
And then he blew up, and I'm like, I just listened to it for the freaking Chinese gang law, and then I just skipped all the freaking Christian part.
Right.
Like in that first interview that I saw with like that other gang member. But then I watched the Software Underbelly one, and that's where I started listening about like his journey with God and what made him change and what made him forgive his dad and all that stuff, and now becoming a freaking pastor. Like yeah, bro, it's like some crazy stuff. Like
it's funny you mentioned Johnny Chang as well, because he's actually had a very profound impact on both me and Mon as well. Wow. And if I can recommend a podcast for you guys to watch, especially if you do, I don't know, want to dive into your faith, or maybe you just want to kind of, I don't know, get some sort of new understanding or of new worldview, I'd highly recommend the George Janko show and his episode with Johnny Chang. I can't recommend that one. Yes. And I can't recommend that one enough, because that episode specifically really changed the trajectory of me and Mon's, I guess, our view on faith. And you have to watch it to understand. Like, if you were to ask me why, I couldn't even, there isn't one single thing. It's the wisdom that he spreads in that, or shares in that episode, his own testimony, right? His own story, accompanied with Bible verses that he pulls from the Bible that actually are applicable to everyone. And it's just so relatable, even though I'm not like some watching gangster. Like, you know, it's very relatable in the sense it's like, oh wow, like, yeah, I've had some negative thoughts. Oh, okay, I shouldn't trust my thoughts. Oh, here's why, da 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 da. Like, there's just so much wisdom in that video. I think it's like a 2 or 3 hour podcast episode or something alone. And I don't know, I feel like if you are open-minded going into it, it might do something for you, is what I'm saying.
I'll check it out. Yeah,
because I've always wanted to dive into faith. Like, I have a mate that growing up, he was, of course, Buddhist as well. He was brought up in a Chinese family. And then growing up, he struggled with a lot with paranoia. He actually listens to this podcast. Shout out to Brandon. He grew up with dealing with a lot of paranoia just because of his upbringing. And then recently, I would say 2 years ago, he dabbled into faith, and then everything just changed. And he's just a lot more positive, more into self-improvement as well, and just reads the Bible all the time. And he tried to get me into Christianity. So what I did, I bought the NKJV. Is it NKJV Bible?
Oh, it was
really thick. I have it in my room. And I never read it. I was like, actually, funny thing, the day before it was meant to arrive, me and Brandon will walk around Cabra, and then there was like this religious group, Christian, and they were just preaching. And then Brandon was like, let's go check it out. We walked there, and then they said hi to us, and then and they prayed for me as well. They prayed for me. We were in like a circle, and they prayed for me. And then the book came, but never got around to actually getting through it.
And I understand why. I would highly recommend the children's one first. Anyone who is looking to dabble in faith, or is curious, or has always wondered, and chances are, again, the Holy Spirit's knocking at your door, I would highly recommend you start at the children's Bible, because it's a more condensed version. It's an easier read. There are illustrations. I know it sounds childish, but it is, for me anyway, a lot more enjoyable because of how thick the actual Bible is. I think that turns off a lot of people. And because as humans, we're so ego driven, we're thinking of completion. We're not thinking of trying to accept and understand. But when you read the Bible, you shouldn't be trying, I can't wait to finish this 1,500 pages. Like, no, that's not the goal. But that, as humans, that's often what we're trying to do, right? We're trying to finish as many books as possible, smash through it. But then you're missing the point. You're missing the lessons. So even now, like I kid you not, with my own Bible, I read 2 pages a day.
Wow, okay. That's gonna take you a while.
It's not something I'm racing through. But my children's one, I blasted through it because, again, it's a condensed version, 500 pages, but like it's much more condensed compared to the actual Bible. And also the words are way bigger. Illustrations sometimes take up half a page, so it's a lot more digestible. So anyone who's looking to dabble in faith, I highly, highly recommend the children's Bible to start. And then once you read through that, it gives you a rough understanding of the actual Bible. And then once you get into the actual Bible, you're like, oh, hey, I read this. Oh, I kind of understand. But then now there's more context behind it. And then you get to understand it more, and then it becomes more enjoyable because now you're actually progressing. And then eventually you're like, oh, okay, cool. You know, life gets in the way. You're working, da da da. Like I'll have days where I'll sit and read for an hour, and then some days where, like right now, it's 2 pages. So you know, you kind of do what you can and not overwhelm yourself.
Yeah. You know what? Like that's actually, that made me think as well. Like that's a good idea. Like the children's version of the Bible, and then that, like even though you're a full grown man, you well, I think you are. You still you can still read the children's version and then use that as like a stepping stone to the adult version, I guess. But why don't like people do that with everything, bro? Like they should read a children's, like machine learning for children, like machine learning engineering for children.
They've got those.
They've got those?
Neural networks for babies.
Yeah, but it's pretty much like crawling before you walk, and then walking before you run.
Yeah. I'm gonna actually look into it, see if there's like a selling for children.
Selling for children. Selling for dummies.
Selling for dummies, or how to sell children's version with pictures and stuff. Or like, buy this now. But no, that's really interesting, man. And I know you've been a Christian for how long? Like a couple months, was it?
I'd say it really started from like 2023 when I started reading the children's Bible, but I guess I didn't really fully kind of like, my faith didn't really fully grow until somewhere in 2024. Yeah, last year. Yeah. Well, it's good, man. Happy for you, bro. Thanks, bro.
Sounds like it's helped you in like a lot of different aspects of life, right? And control your like purpose and meaning in life, and also control your emotions and all that. So
yeah, it's definitely changed a lot of things for sure, and for the better. And I guess that's why I'm such a big advocate, right? Like hypothetically speaking, let's just say he's not real. Let's just say there is no God, right? But by believing that there is, and accepting that there are consequences to what you do in this life, hell, it makes you a better person. It forces you to be a better person. And why wouldn't you want that? Is my question to you. So a lot of the times people go, oh, no, he's not real, no. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. But how's life? Right? And they're like, oh, it's crap. Why? Because of so and so and so. And a lot of the times, this is what I refer back to. People think that hell is just this bad place that people go to because they do bad things.
Yeah.
But it's not. Hell is you choosing to be away from Christ. That's what hell is. Heaven is choosing to be with Christ, right? You've chosen to have a relationship with Christ, so you get to be in heaven to be with Christ. But if you're doing all these negative things all the time, and breaking the 10 commandments, like murdering, stealing, all that stuff, adultery, all that stuff, and you just never listen, then you don't really want to be around Christ, and that's fine. The Lord has created a destination for you to be in where he's not there, and that is hell. And that's what it is, right? And the thing is, like, if you can not believe, but a lot of the times when you choose not to believe, you're also choosing to just be away from him. And when you choose to be away from him, God's going to look down and go, okay, well, then I guess you don't really need my help because you want to act on your own accord. And that's fine, because God is a gentleman and he gave us free will. But if you aren't going to listen to your dad, our Heavenly Father, then guess who's going to bear the weight of the world on their shoulders? You. And that's why when you actually accept Christ and you let him in, a lot of that angst, a lot of those anxieties, a lot of those burdens, a lot of those worries, they become a lot lighter to carry, because now you have someone to support you. You have someone to deal with. You have that guidance. And that's what it is. And
Jesus, take the wheel.
Honestly. And that's the thing. And I think that's what's helped me a lot. And literally speaking, I feel like that's what I felt from my first ever prayer, where I just felt that weight off my shoulders, especially after having that big cry. I'm like, oh crap, like, it's nice. So to really hammer it home, anyone who's looking to dabble in the faith, Children's Bible and the Johnny Chang episode on the George Janko podcast, I think is a great place to start.
Damn. Thanks, bro. Like, you gave a lot of actionable insights to people, even for us as well. And if I ever want to start like my personal training career as well, I think I would know where to start. Yeah, so
Yeah, my advice is don't. Honestly, man, it's such a tough gig, but yeah.
yeah. Do you like what are your next like plans for the, let's say, the next 12 to 24 months, like career wise, like life wise? What are some goals that you have for?
Man, that is such a loaded question because I don't even know. I think I've gone so many years, right, where it was such a grind and such a time where I was just build and try to make as much money as I could, that now I've just kind of gotten into the phase of trying to just enjoy life. And I guess right now I'm in this phase or season where I'm trying to just work on myself a little bit more, and I'm trying to grow with Jesus a lot more as well. And it's the same with both me and my partner. And it doesn't mean I'm not working, I'm working, but like, yeah, I'm just not in a rush these days as well. And I think, again, it's another one of those things that comes from the Jesus effect. Like like back then I used to just always be, and I'm sure you guys can probably relate. Especially living in a Western society where we're programmed to desire more, to want the next best thing, the next best gadget, the bigger car, the better house, and we're always comparing. We always feel like we're in a rush, like we're behind, right? And we always feel like, you know, it's whatever we're doing isn't enough, and we're always comparing ourselves to, like, I don't know, that 22-year-old crypto millionaire or whatever whatever the heck it
to
like
buy my drop shipping course now.
You know what I mean? Like we live in such a progressive society where progression is like number one thing, and also competition and comparison is such a big thing that I am trying to actively disengage from that. I'm trying to actively slow down.
Okay.
I'm trying to actively run my own race.
Yep.
You know, I'm not trying to compete with people. And I think because of that, I haven't really thought about my 1, 3, 5 year plans like I used to, you know, because when I first started out as a PT, my goal was just, man, I can't wait to make $1,000 a week. And then once I made $1,000 a week, I can't wait to make $2,000 a week. And then from there, it's like, oh, next goal. And it's like, well, bro, you keep moving the goalpost after you make the goal. It's like, when do you stop? You know?
Yeah.
So, and I'm sure you guys can relate to that as well. At what point are you content? At what point are you grateful? And a funny thing I read the other day as well, actually, if you want to know what God thinks about money, look at the people he gives it to. Look at the richest people in the world. Look at the people who you think have a lot of money. How do they behave? How are they as people? And I'm not saying every rich person is a bad person or anything, but just something, food for thought.
That's true. Elon Musk has freaking delayed our flight to the US by a day, bro.
By a day.
An asshole. I still wouldn't mind driving a Tesla though, but like, delayed our flight to the US by flying his rocket ship and all the debris.
He's not a bad guy, right? I don't know anything about him, to be honest.
Yeah, I see. No, that's actually food for thought, bro. Yeah. But I think we'll wrap things up now. I think we'll get you again in a future episode again, maybe for part 2, to learn more about like where this journey with Christ takes you, and also want to see very, very keen to follow you on this next new chapter of your life, man. So can you let these people know where they could find you?
Oh, I'm just on Instagram at the moment. Gary Prime PT. If you're in need of a coach, link in bio.
Yeah, I'll put the link in the bio if you pay me money.
Thanks for the sponsor.
Any closing remarks, guys? Did you like having a chat with this young man?
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. That was awesome.
Good actionable steps for getting close to God, because it's something that's been on my mind for I would say a year now. I'll just try to.
He's knocking.
Maybe open up the Bible, read 2 verses, and be like, oh, fuck this, and then close it again. Yeah. But yeah, I'll definitely try to have to pick up a children's Bible and have that as a first start.
Yeah, you know what's funny as well. Sorry to kind of keep this going, but that's how I felt for I don't know, probably about a year as well.
Yeah.
In the thick of my partying phase, it was always on the back of my mind. There has to be more than this. There has to be more to life than this. And I think that's how it started for me. And then that's when I really wanted to zoom out and see what else was out there. And then that's That's how it led me to that. And I think a lot of Christians would agree that when you really think that way, and I know that you guys probably do, all roads lead back to Christ. Yeah. So I do hope you guys find him.
Yeah, like the you were saying, like when you were partying and shit, like those thoughts that you have at the rave at 11:58 p.m. and then you're looking around and everyone's like, fuck, that has to be more to life.
Everyone's jacked off there.
You just like you're like you kind of wake up. He's like, I need Jesus. I need Jesus right now.
Yeah, this is not right. This is not right at all.
But anyways, thanks again, Gary, for jumping on today. It was
so much.
Thank you.
a very, very good episode. And make sure to follow him and also follow our Instagram and TikTok as well.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Exactly, man. Try to get us to 500 subscribers, man. That was like part of my New Year's goal. So please subscribe if you're watching on YouTube, and also follow us on Spotify as well. But thanks again, and see you later.
See you.
Peace out. See you guys.